guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. See you, take care.
So construction project progress, we have the solution for the drainage issue, so when we figured out the solution, the kind of what the next step is, we issued what's called a bulletin, so it's really to get pricing from the contractor, so we were kind of in the process of getting that information, figure out how much is it gonna cost to address that, so that's why that remains on here. Eastern High competition gym is for the most part complete. I think we were waiting this week on the floor things for the volleyball poles. There's a technical term, it eludes me right now, and it's kind of a niche market. They will be in this week, I believe, to get that work done. So if you haven't been over there, you gotta get over there and check it out. It looks awesome. Central High School continued to move forward. We're in our second phase of that project. And then the next series we have here are the one designs that are complete. Of course, last month we learned a little bit more about Northern Hills Middle. That is out to bid right now. So those bids are due back shortly, and we will vet those and bring those back to the board in November, with construction starting in June. The Aquatic Center had the bid opening last week. Awesome participation. It was a lot of fun seeing the numbers, and it looks like it's coming right in on budget. So they will start the process of, there's 31 bid categories, so they meet with the apparent low bidder for each of those categories, so they have those already all scheduled, and so they will start that, and we'll bring this one to you in November as well. And then we have this week our neighbors community open house. One of the things that we heard when this building went up from a few of the neighbors was they didn't even know that was happening, so they kind of were caught off guard, and it was a pretty busy campus in terms of neighbors walking and that type of thing. So we heard that feedback, and so we sent a postcard communication to the neighbors kind of in this block, and let them know they're welcome to come and look. We'll have some boards up for them to kind of see. One of the boards will have QR codes with a virtual thing, so they'll have that, and we'll get the electronic files for that, so we'll be able to post that on our bond webpage and put it in our next community mailer. And then my plan is to also get over and connect with the two fall aquatics coaches to see if I can get in there between one team leaving practice and one team coming to practice, so that spend a few minutes with those lady swimmers so they can see some of the boards. Some of them were a part of the committee, but it'd be fun to get that in front of them as well. Ada Vista, you'll see that is on today's agenda. That is that small area of parking that we use for staging. We need to replace that. And then the next our next round of athletic projects. So at Central High School, the baseball and softball fields. That will go out to bid here in a couple weeks, and then we'll bring that to the board in December. Eastern High, that's the auxiliary turf field, so that will go out to bid at the end of this month, and we'll bring that back to you in January. And then Northern High's athletic project is the baseball softball field. We're going to relocate that softball field down by the baseball, and then the current softball field will become parking. So that will go out to bid here this month as well, and that will come back to you in December. Ada, we just heard about, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time there. That will go out to bid next month. Meadowbrook, so they will be back, Tower Paint Store will be back next month, and they will walk through Meadowbrook just like they did for Ada. We'll take that out to bid in January, and that project will start in June, just like Ada. And then we are starting, actually, I think the meeting is tomorrow. Are picking up our redesign of the Roslyn Northern High, so that will be fun with them. On the horizon, our current community aquatic center. So we've been talking through what that design group might look like. So stay tuned for that, but we'll use about not quite a year for planning for that, and then we'll start filling in some more of those dates when we go through that as a group. But coming up, it just will be happening sooner than we know it. Nat Forest Elementary Learning Environment is up for design. Will start in April, and then Eastern Middle High, that design will start in May. And then we also have our bond facilities team meeting scheduled for later this month.
always set to be finished like October-ish, right?
Yes.
It's,
Yeah, yep, it is on schedule.
I had a parent come up to me and I was like, no, it's forever been October, like.
Yeah, it's always been October.
Okay.
Yep, and we knew, and we worked with the athletic director and the principal and figured out how can we make it work. They wanted to not wait. And so we said, yep, we can do it, and as planned. All right, well then that takes us to the action items for us today. We have our minutes from last month. Of course, Scott spoke earlier about the CMP3 for our 6th through 8th graders, so that's a 1-year digital license out of the general fund for an amount not to exceed $49,350. The next request is to increase our contract with Parkway Electric to expand the PA and clock system. We would like to expand it to really the rest of the buildings that don't have anything. When you think of our Fine Arts Center and our Community Aquatic Center, we have students there, we have community events there. We don't have a system if there was some type of emergency, whether it was a tornado or whatever. So we feel it's really important that we put that in those spaces. We'd also like something out at transportation. And then our operations campus, that's kind of spread between 3 different buildings. So that same concept, if there was something going on in the area that we needed to warn those teams about versus having someone run around and tell them all, this would be a system that we could quickly communicate with those folks. So we had pricing already in the contract, so it was pre-negotiated when we bid this out initially. So the request would be to increase it by $258,000. That would include some contingency funds just in case we find something when that's being installed.
And that would be for the new community center, the new aquatic center. You wouldn't be trying to put it in.
No,
what
we'll
we've
be
got
putting,
right
it'll be
now.
in this one.
It will.
Yes, because we'll still be using that facility
Okay.
for whatever purpose when we get through the design thing, but we still we'll need something there because we'll still have events there that we'll want to be able to communicate. All right, the next item is for snow removal services. So when we bid this out back in July 22, it was for a 3-year period with the ability to extend for 2 additional 1-year terms. So we're requesting that we apply the first 1-year extension with Caterberg or Hog for an amount not to exceed $292,065, and that comes out of our general fund. And you could see in the recommendation, so it's snow removal of all the parking lots and the sidewalks at certain locations, so A to B Sub, Meadowbrook, Pine Ridge, and this Washburn campus, that's where they would do those parking lots. Otherwise, it's the operations team, our grounds team that's helping to do the snow removal on sidewalks with the other buildings. Our A to B Sub paving that I spoke about during the construction update, so we put this out to bid and we are recommending the low bidder, A1 Asphalt, for an amount not to exceed $80,100, including some contingency funds in there, and that will come out of our 2023 capital projects. We have 4 bidders in total for that project. Central High Media Center furniture. Make sure I'm not skipping anything as I'm going through. So we are recommending replacing some of that furniture. So we refreshed all of that furniture back in 2016. So as we redesigned that space, we kind of kept in mind what furniture was still good too. And so we're retaining all those pieces that are good. There were some of those, kind of those individual airport carols, if you think of it, those did not hold up. And so we're not retaining those. But by and large, the rest of the furniture we will keep. This is just to fill in some of those gaps for that. So $101,170 from Custer, and we're utilizing the E&I and Omnia purchasing cooperatives to meet our bidding requirements. I'm going to skip financial statements just for a second because we're going to spend a little bit more time on them, and then we do have a small property tax reimbursement to Kent County for $76,970.42. right, let's jump into our financial statements.